I know that. Hey, hello to the TOC meeting on 5th of December. So we have our usual schedule to review the action items. We will get an update from the Paketo working group, review open PRs, RFC, and talk about any other business. So regarding the action items from last week, so we had two action items and they are resolved. I saw the discussion in our TOC channel regarding our plans to delete manually edit users. Thank you, Amelia. There was also a lot of activity on the issue. We have a small script to identify those users. And I also spent some working group leads and people to get the long-standing PRs for promotion resolved, and we had good progress there, so we could resolve all of them. Okay, I think this is all. Now we can start with the working group update. So Daniel, welcome to our meeting.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Not totally sure what you guys want me to talk about. I can give you a quick maybe update on some of the things that have been going on lately, if that sounds good. So probably the most noteworthy thing that's happened recently was that we lost our Slack instance. It was a fun couple days where we were trying to figure out what happened. And it looks like one of the owners on the Slack instance was a VMware employee. And when the Broadcom switch happened, they just killed our Slack because one of the owners was a VMware employee. Didn't take into consideration that the foundation was paying for the Slack. They just abruptly terminated it. So we are still attempting to get that back. And in the time being, we are organizing a bit on the Cloud Foundry Slack, just so we have a place to communicate. But it has, as you can imagine, slowed us down significantly because that was our primary place of communication. So we're hoping that that gets resolved very soon, but also planning on some kind of plan B, so to speak, if we can't get that back. So I don't know. We're not totally sure how long we're going to wait to see if we can get it back, but we'd like to keep some of the channel history and stuff because there is some good info in there. So time will tell on that. Aside from that bit of fun, I think we're kind of looking at end of year activities, doing, I believe Jan was going to work on our roadmap for next year and start another survey. We usually do a survey at the end of the year to ask people what they want to see next year. We never really guarantee anything because, it always depends on what people want to work on as opposed to what people want. But, we try to do what we can there. So there should be, if there isn't yet, there should be a survey up on GitHub. We use the discussions there for that. So hopefully we'll get that out soon. We also tend to do a year-end kind of wrap-up, on what our previous year roadmap looked like and what we got done. So I would expect to see that out, here soon, probably this month, something like that. If we don't get too distracted from the lack of Slack. I think what else is going on from a high level. I think that is about it. I know there's probably a lot of updates from individual teams on what they're working on in their particular build packs. I'm not sure. I don't know what a lot of the teams are doing. I could really only speak to the Java team, but if that's of interest, I could talk about that a little bit too.
Sure, a short update on important things.
Um, sure. Yeah. So on the Java side, we are working on a couple, I guess, larger efforts. Oracle had made a new version of GraalVM available, and we're working on pulling that into the build packs. That's been something a lot of people have been asking for. So we finally got all of the clearance for that and got the RFC approved. So hopefully very soon we'll be able to incorporate that into the build packs. That'll be a nice release for people. We're always doing our kind of maintenance and updates and things like that. And then we've got a couple things possibly coming from the Spring side, but the other major thing that we're working on is our ARM64 efforts. It's been a much slower process than I would have liked, but there have just been a lot of hurdles to overcome to get that to work with tooling and everything. So we are making some progress, though. We've got queued up a couple PRs that will add all the dependencies and things for ARM64 in, and we've got ARM64 stacks that are available now. So we're kind of working our way up to having a full ARM64 builder. That's kind of the goal. The first one will probably be limited. I think adding support for Java is easier than some of the other languages, but hopefully we'll get like Go in there pretty quickly after. And fingers crossed that'll be an easy one to add in as well. And I think the plan is just to try to get something out there that's working that people can play around with, so we can get some feedback and kind of see where we need to go with it. But that was a big goal for 2023. So we're getting there, but it's not as far as I would have liked. And I guess at the same time we are working on this stuff, the core build packs team is working on improvements in pack, and they are kind of helping us as well. So it's kind of a race. It's like some of the stuff we implement and they add features to make that easier, and but it's just all happening simultaneously.
Had a question about the standard dependency metadata format RFC. Are there any updates on that?
That one, I am not sure what the latest is on that. I know it's been discussed, but I feel like it's not been a high priority for a lot of people. I'm optimistic that we'll come together on something pretty soon, because I don't feel like there are no large like dissenting opinions on that. It's kind of, I think, just a matter of getting it to a place where people are relatively happy and then getting votes in. And I feel like we're probably close to the point of just calling for votes. So I don't know if there's anything else that you're interested in seeing in that, but
yeah, is the plan to replace like the existing SBOM functionality? So this is basically one format to rule them all.
No, this format is what's being discussed there is the format for the metadata that we use to locate dependencies to install them. So it does have some information that gets fed through to actually, no, I take that back. I don't think that happens anymore. No, it does. So some of that information, like the CPE information and stuff, does get fed through into the SBOMs that get generated. But that won't, I don't think that'll change, because I don't think those fields are changing. There may be some additional information that we can pass through in the SBOM. Like I think we'll more reliably have like architecture information and things like that we can include. But I don't see any major changes to the SBOM format because of that.
I see. So this is more about like declaring the dependencies that are brought by the build pack itself, like for example,
Right.
the Java runtime and those types of
Yeah.
things.
Yeah, like for example, now presently there is no architecture field in the metadata that we use. And so like when we're trying to add in the support for ARM64, it's hard to decide what, software you want when you don't have that field present. So we have some hacks in there now to make it work, but once we get this standard format out that includes that stuff, it'll be a lot better.
I see. Thanks. And do you know who's within VMware by Broadcom trying to recover the Slack instance?
So Chris is working on that on the CFF side.
Chris Clark, I see.
Yes, Chris Clark. Yeah, he's been trying to reach people at Broadcom to get that straightened out. I don't know how much luck he's had, but I guess he told me yesterday that he reached out to the Broadcom representative that's on the foundation board,
I think
and trying to.
I think that person is busy because I know that
I would imagine.
there's there were multiple Slack instances that were all shut down. So I know some people that at least have recovered one instance, so I can reach out to them.
Okay.
But I don't want to do it in so I will reach out to Chris to find out what he has done so far, and then we'll see if I can assist in getting it back.
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, any help on that effort would be wonderful.
Yes.
Cool. I think that's it off the top of my head, unless there's any more questions.
One question, was there any activity recently on integrating Paketo build packs into wash deployed CF? There were some RFCs. I don't know if there was any progress maybe behind the scenes that was not visible.
I think I just saw that RFC got closed. Other than that, I have not seen any updates on that in a bit. But I think that the builder and stack teams may have been working on that a little more than, or at least a little more aware of what's going on there than I am. Because I think that was kind of the main point of integration. I don't think the build packs themselves really notice that they're in, Cloud Foundry or running in pack or whatever. It's just the what's the word I'm looking for? The interface, that they see it, they don't really see that through the interface. So, but at the stack level and at the builder level, I think that is important. So they may be more aware of changes there, but I haven't heard anything lately.
Yeah, thanks.
There were two RFCs actually. The one dealing with the Paketo stacks and which get closed, and another one which wanted to produce shimmed build packs, cloud native build packs, so that you can use them in Cloud Foundry, Bosch-based Cloud Foundry without any changes to the runtime itself.
Okay. Yeah, I do recall some people mentioning the shim stuff, but that I have not worked on any of that. That's a different team. I do know that we have I think SAP has sent us a couple pull requests into the libraries that we use for build pack development to support service bindings in CF. So the build packs that are based on libpack and libcnb should all be capable of parsing those kind of just in the same way that they do with the bindings outside of CF. So that was something that I'd say probably in the last 3 or 4 months kind of got merged in.
Okay. Are there any other questions? Doesn't seem to be the case. So we heard what we can help with. Is there anything else we can help?
Nothing that comes to mind. Yeah, I guess if there are more things that need to be done, in regards to getting build packs working in Cloud Foundry, certainly reach out. But yeah, I think it's probably the only other thing there would be like at some point it might be nice to have access to infrastructure if we're running them in both so that we can test and see what things look like. I don't know what is available there. It's a little harder to run Cloud Foundry on your laptop.
Yeah.
I don't know. We have a CI budget, right, from the CFF that some working groups are using.
Yeah, that might be a question better for the runtime working group and see what resources they have set up. I'm not sure that it's necessary now, but at some point, when we're rolling that out more seriously, we certainly want to make sure we're not doing anything in Paketo land that would break, anything happening on the CF side.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think we can think of something when we are so far yeah. Okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for having me. I'm going to drop off unless there's anything else you need.
Thank you also for the update, Daniel. And
yeah.
See you. Bye-bye.
Yep. Talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.
A short question. I was filling up the attendees list. Should I put in the meantime Broadcom or VMware?
I think the official name is VMware by Broadcom, but that's quite a mouthful. But I keep saying it. I like it so long. I want to use it.
I think you can.
I will do the typing.
Okay, let's continue with the PRs. We have the first one is about a new repository which wants to introduce a new Bosch ARI storage CLI. So there is no support for ARI storage at the moment. If you want to use that with Bosch, and this is so to go. I see we have all the approvals here. I can go on March. Okay. The next one is about, we have all the approvals user, which does not exist anymore. Okay. It's matched already. Must be correct. Yeah. Next. So much. Okay, great. So we have done the update to the readiness health check RFC. Do you want to comment?
Yeah. Eric was reading the RFC and pointed out to me that the event names that I suggested were not following the patterns that we had used before. So we just wanted to make a small update to the audit event names.
Yeah. There is already a comment by Stefan. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the scheduling event is not correctly described because it does not get issued when there is a crash or it's not connected with a liveness health check, but only with a cell evacuation. So the trigger for this event is really a cell evacuation, which is not a crash. It may result in a crash. That's a different story if it's not terminated in time, but that's then, yeah, it was not the health check for sure.
Sure.
But otherwise, yeah, fine. No.
Okay, then you can check on this and can review next time. I also added here the already mentioned RFC about integrating the Paketo stacks in Cloud Foundry, which have been closed, just to get you updated that this one been closed by Greg. It looks like there are no plans to work on this now, and maybe this will be continued in the future. Any comments? No. Then can go to the links are broken here. Okay, anyway, I will correct this. Something that so I think that the implementation for the inactive user division is ready for review, and I already added you for review. So there are no tests at the moment because it's just a thin wrapper on top of the GitHub APIs. I'm not sure whether we need any tests here. Let's please go over it and comment. What do you think it makes sense? It's just a small wrapper. And actually, if you execute this script, I did this, but created the issue on a test repo, and you will get an issue like this. The title is inactive users to be deleted. According to the rules for inactive defined in the RFC, and then a list of users. This is the current list you get. Around, I think, 450 users. And I also have a statement about a revocation policy at the bottom. Yeah, please go take your time and provide some feedback. I think I can also schedule some maybe a short meeting with Stefan to see how to integrate it into the existing GitHub actions.
Is the plan to just create an issue, or will it create a pull request to remove them?
For the beginning, I plan to go with issues, and then if everything is fine, then let's see.
Okay. And also, I saw that the users aren't like mentioned, as in there's no ad in front of them, so they won't get notified. I understand that for testing purposes.
Yes.
But it would be it would probably be nice to
Yeah.
mention that.
Yes, I will mention that the original, the official one will notify the users, but at
I
the
see.
moment, yeah. And
Yeah,
I
I guess
decided,
an automatic PR creation is not difficult and is a good idea because doing this manually is pretty risky.
Yeah. But that brings me to the next thing, which is like we probably need to batch it somehow, because I noticed when we're doing the revocation of privileges thing with that script from Amelia, I was running, like I was doing it manually, and then at some point it started to not highlight users anymore. So there's like apparently a limit with how many people you can mention in an issue or in a text field or something. So when I used the second comment, it worked. But yeah, there's limits.
there's limit. I thought it's 50 users per comment, but you have more, you have around 70. Then I'm not, maybe they increase. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we can extend it to create the PRs also. I just the initial version to get the user screened. Any other business? So we have something from Amelia.
Yeah, I just, with the tagging everyone, I've gotten some questions about when are we actually going to remove those permissions? And so I thought it'd be great if we could pick a date. But before we pick the date, I wanted to know if there were any blockers to it. Like, do we know what changes to our automation we need to do to make this work?
We need to implement something. At the moment, we don't have any automation which can do this.
Sounds like an action item.
Yeah, I think
I'm not aware of a real blocker. So we have the workaround to get admin rights for certain users via these temporary groups. We have the bot users, so I cannot imagine of anything that is a real blocker, but yeah, we will probably learn this the hard way.
There are some PRs to new PRs for created by users notified so that they get some roles in the community. Yeah.
Maybe we can recommend every working group lead to try it out on 1 or 2 representative repositories before we do the big change with automation. I guess every working group knows by heart which are the critical repos that have a lot of automation involved. So for instance, the Cloud Controller NG or CAPI repository are candidates, CF deployment are candidates, and there are many repos that are just uninteresting and you delete it. And maybe we can say you can do that until January 16th and try it out and give us feedback. And after this, we will plan for, I don't know, 2 weeks later to do it.
Okay, so sounds like a plan. Is there anything else to discuss?
Do you want me, can you give me an action item to tell working group leaders to do that and do it myself?
Yeah.
We'll get rid of all those ones on routing release and see what happens.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else? Doesn't seem to be the case. Then we are done for today.
Maybe one small thing, there were quite some activities regarding the validation of the FIP stem cell. And meanwhile, the first run of the CF deployment or the validation pipeline in CF deployment was successful. And there is on the CF deployment repository one ticket, I don't know the number by heart, but I can look it up, where Jochen would list always the next blocker. It will probably turn out in a very sequential, going from one block to the next one. It's just a call out to every working group lead to help here, because otherwise it will take endless time. So the first blocker actually is on UAA. But yeah, there will be many one by one. And
yeah. So Jochen is pinging people on that issue, or how he?
Yeah, I think he creates a ticket and then he waits until this ticket resolves. He will not. It's not his primary task to drive this, but if there are long-standing blockers, I guess he will join, for instance, a TOC meeting and ask for help or whatever. I mean, for certain activities, we also have internal channels because we happen to have committers in those projects for UAA, for instance, but for others, we simply wait.
We also have the CF FIPS channel in the Slack, right?
Yeah, right. Haven't looked it up, but I hope that he has added this ticket to this channel. If not, this will happen. But yeah, there's progress. That's the good news.
Hey, anything else? Doesn't seem to be the case. Then take care and see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Ich habe das Ticket.